Hello, and a big welcome today to Giovanna Forte, who is Chief Executive and founder of Forte Medical. Hi, Giovanna.
Hello, Angus. Good afternoon.
Forte Medical, what does it do?
We are urine specimen collection experts, whether it's for women's health, midstream urine. We're working on first stream for early stage cancer and soon twin stream for evidential forensic medicine and sports dope testing. We are the we people.
The we people. So tell me something. Why is midstream so important, and why is it? What problems it's solving? What's been the problem in the past?
Well, there's no protocol for midstream urine collection, and yet it's in all the guidelines for urinary tract infection diagnosis and prenatal screening. So women have to start to pee, stop, position a container under them, start again. Now, if you're large or pregnant, or you've just got a weak pelvic floor, this is really hard. And around 30% on average of urine specimens are contaminated or they're false positive, which means women are going to get antibiotics they don't need. I mean, soiling your hands when you're trying to pee into a small tube is insane when the NHS has spent millions on clean your hands campaigns, and yet they're still expecting women to soil theirs to provide a urine sample that is likely not to be particularly reliable. Makes no sense at all.
So, Giovanna, could you actually demonstrate what the PZ midstream actually is, and let people see what it is and how it works?
Yes, of course. This is the tube that women are normally asked to pee into. You can see that's not very big, and it's quite big, quite tricky and messy. PZ midstream, you twist this on here. You put this against the body. It's got a nice soft curve on it, and you'll see at the bottom here there are two exits. The first flush of urine, which can carry flora and bacteria off the skin, that comes through this hole here, and that sponge expands, and it stops the urine and pushes midstream into the tube. Any excess comes out of the second aperture here, and then when you finish peeing, you've got your midstream. You count to 10 to let the sponge drain, and then you take this off. You've got midstream, and this tube here, it acts as liquid displacement. So if it's a very full tube, when you lift this out, the level will drop, so you're not going to spill wee on your hands. There we go. Midstream, clean hands, clean sample.
Very, very sensible. And it just seems such a sort of obvious thing, really. I mean, for everybody.
Yeah, when my brother invented it, it was to solve a problem of messy, unhygienic urine specimen collection. And then we found that the clinical benefits were absolutely enormous.
Where are these wonderful devices actually manufactured? Are they British?
They are British, yes. We manufacture in the very safe hands of Pennine Healthcare, who are entirely healthcare-focused manufacturer. They distribute to 40 countries. They have everything we could possibly need as a turnkey solution. And they love us and we love them. So it's a
fantastic
very marriage. Mm-hmm.
And the materials, I have to ask, are they sort of made from sustainable things, and what about getting rid of them?
That's interesting. When my brother and I first worked on PZ nearly 20 years ago, we researched cornstarch polymer because we wanted the device to, be compostable or flushable or whatever. But there were no appropriate, suitable medical grade polymers out there. We tried to talk cornstarch polymer, it didn't work. So it's now polypropylene. Now polypropylene is it doesn't release any toxins when it's incinerated, and it's recyclable. So when we redesign PZ, which we're about to do, into a flat pack device to work with home testing, it can go into the recycling bin. So it's as good as you can get without a really good medical grade sustainable polymer, which everybody in the healthcare industry is looking for. It's a holy grail.
You and your brother set up Forte Medical, and the world of entrepreneurship, as anyone who's ever had a go at it will tell you, is quite a hard one. How's it been for you?
Well, it's been quite a bumpy road. I mean, I set up my first business when I was 26, so that's nearly 40 years ago. So I've always worked for myself. So that side of it isn't a problem. I'm very motivated. I don't need someone behind me sort of pushing me and giving me targets. But in terms of learning on the hoof, as it were, about health tech, manufacture, quality assurance, regulatory stuff, that's been quite tricky because I had no idea about any of it. So it's probably taken longer than it should have done, but I'm pretty good at it now, and we know what we're doing. And I would say, as an entrepreneur, I don't really like to be billed as a female entrepreneur. I would like to stand shoulder to shoulder with my male counterparts and be judged in the same way.
And is that something that you have encountered along the way, that actually female entrepreneurs are treated differently?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, when I applied for National Innovation Accelerator, one of the questions is, "Tell us what you've achieved," which I did, and one of the assessors said, "She seems rather arrogant about what she's achieved." Now, can you imagine that being said about a bloke? They would have been, "Oh, look, he's done all this stuff. That's great." But no. My genitals are different, so that makes me arrogant. It's annoying, and you do get patronised. I mean, all these accelerator programs, you don't get them for men, do you? Because everyone assumes men know what they're doing when they start a company. We're offered accelerators, all this kind of stuff that takes us away from the business, which is not what we want. I'm 61. I don't need to do all that.
Would you be able to think what the key lessons that you've learned and you would pass on to anybody setting out, not necessarily to sell medical devices or into the NHS, which we know is probably more challenging than perhaps other sectors, but are there any sort of key lessons that you can think to say, do this, or don't do that?
Research. Research your market, research your audience, research your customer, research your manufacturer, research everything, because it's very easy to get it wrong. Research the people you talk to about investment. We've been caught up a couple of times with naughty people. It's research. It's understand everything about your market. Evidence, in our case, certainly in healthcare, evidence, which we've built up a lot of now. So that's good. We didn't sort of realise. We thought, well, if it's patently obvious that it does this, then everyone's going to accept that. That's not the case.
Just talking about your market, who are you selling to? The NHS obviously is a vast array of different organisations for primary care and secondary care. Who are you actually selling to? Where are you wearing out your shoe leather?
Very good question, and one I should have thought about a lot more about 10 years ago, because this is the thing about mentoring as well that women are often offered. I had a lot of mentors to start with, and they told me to go to hospitals, get this taken up by hospitals, and then primary care will follow and everything else. And actually, that was a load of nonsense, because hospitals don't do the burden of urine testing is in primary care, and that's why PZ was designed, and the purpose for which it was designed. And that's where we're going now. So it's primary care, it's GP surgeries. Antenatal is our biggest immediate market, because a woman who's pregnant and has 7 urine screens during her pregnancy, she doesn't want antibiotics she doesn't need. She needs to be diagnosed with, if she has glucose, it could point to gestational diabetes. If she has too much protein, it could point to preeclampsia. These tests have to be accurate. And without a protocol to take midstream, you can't guarantee that. You have very strict protocols for blood, yet blood and urine have diagnostic parity. But PZ is the closest you can get to a protocol for urine collection.
And again, how are you approaching that? Because presumably there are many more private providers now. Is that a slightly easier route than the?
No, not really.
NHS?
I mean, the thing about repeat testing is that everyone profits from it. So you have to change the mindset of people providing the tests, because the more they sell, the more profitable it is. And we're in the unusual position of the more successful we are, the greater reduction of our own market will take place, because we're reducing retests, we're reducing false positives. So you should need fewer urine samples. You're not getting 30% of them being repeated or wrong.
Yeah, but conversely, surely the number of tests that are being done will continue to rise, whether it's point of care or whether it's remote or even home care testing now.
Yeah. I mean, home testing.
That's not going to the diagnostics volume is surely not going to reduce in any way.
No, and the advent of home testing, particularly for the worried well and people who can't get a GP appointment, that is in our favour. So where COVID took away our traditional market, it's now brought that back. But we also have the new home testing market, which didn't really, it wasn't a big thing before COVID. people got used to home testing and doing that for themselves. So this is why we're going to be re-engineering Peasy into a flat pack device with fresh IP, and that will mean that home testing companies can put that in with their tests and make sure they're reliable. We're talking to 2 or 3 remote diagnostic businesses at the moment. One in particular who's going to be launching big time in the States next year, and they've designed their cartridge, home testing cartridge, to fit Peasy because it's the only way they can get the accurate sample into that cartridge. So, we've got a burgeoning market out there that we need to meet. So we've got traditional and remote.
Well, it all sounds very exciting. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us today, and we wish you all the very best for the future. And let's hope that there's a great deal of common sense when the NHS comes to it. As a taxpayer, I really think it's one of those things that's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? I mean, it should save us all money and also the hassle of women giving urine. It sounds absolutely grim at the moment.
Well, it is grim. Having to give a repeat test and childcare and taking time off work and all of that, it has a huge impact. Yeah, we're here for women. Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Well, all the very best, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much, Angus.